Good morning, everyone. Sorry po, Dok, may problem. Hindi po ma-share. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Junard Lito M. Henabate. So, I'll be reporting the first part, the research problem, objectives, and hypothesis. So, what are our report objectives? First is to define the research problem. What are their characteristic and types of research problem? Define objectives, the importance and its types. Then lastly, we define the hypothesis, its function, categories, and its types of hypothesis. So, so what is a research problem? A research problem is a gap in existing knowledge, a contradiction in an established theory, or a real-world challenge that a researcher aims to address in their research. It is at the heart of any scientific inquiry directing the trajectory of an investigation. So, sa research natin, no, pag maghahanap tayo, di ba, ng research, doon tayo nag-check kung ano yung may mga kakulangan nila, yung may mga problem, ay yung kinukuha natin. No? So, the statement of a problem orients the reader to the importance of the topic, nagsiset siya ng problem into a particular context, at dinidefine niya the relevance parameter na nagpo-provide ng framework for the reporting of the findings niya. So before gumawa tayo ng mga project or research, kailangan nating tanongin yung sarili natin, ano yung research problem? Kasi a research problem definition can be broadly put forward as the primary statement of a knowledge gap or a fundamental challenge in a field which forms the foundation for research. So, yung findings na galing sa research investigation natin ay nagpo-provide ng mga solution dun sa mga problem niya or sa mga gap niya. So, a research problem guides the selection of approaches and methodologies, data collection, and interpretation of results to find answers or solutions. A well-defined problem determines the generation of valuable insights and contributions to the broader intellectual discourse. So, ano yung mga characteristics ng isang research problem? Una is novel. Pag sinabi kasi nating novel, ito yung mga ideal na research problem na ini-introduce niya yung mga fresh perspective o yung nag-offer siya ng something new to the existing body of knowledge, then dapat it should contribute sa original insights at nag-a-address ito sa mga unresolved matters or sa mga essential na body of knowledge. Second is significant. Yung, yung research problem, dapat nag-hold siya ng significance pagdating sa mga potential na impact doon sa theory, mga practices, policy, or pag-understand natin sa mga mismong phenomenon or yung mga nangyayari na may mga problem talaga na may makailangan natin ng pagbibigay natin ng mga tawag dito, solution. So dapat sa research problem natin dapat nagbibigay tayo ng relevant doon sa field ng study niya at ina-address natin yung mga gap pagdating sa knowledge. So, may mga practical concerns or mga theoretical dilemma na nag-hold doon sa significance niya. Third is feasible. So, pagdating sa isang research problem, dapat ina-allow natin yung formulation ng hypothesis niya. at yung design ng research methodologies. Kasi kung ang research problem natin ay feasible, ito yung masasabi nating realistic na pwedeng imbestigahan given dun sa mga available na resources natin, oras, saka yung expertise. So, dapat hindi rin ito masyadong broad or yung narrow para ma-explore natin uh, para ma-explore natin effectively. So, for pang-apat is clear and specific. So, a well-defined research problem ay dapat clear at specific kasi dapat wala tayong iniiwan doon na ambiguity or dapat madali natin maintindihan ito at ma-articulate. So, next is the rooted in evidence. So, a good research problem dapat uh, may tiwala tayo doon sa evidence at saka sa data niya. While dismissing unverifiable information, dapat kino-consider natin yung ethical guidelines, ini-ensure natin yung well-being at yung rights ng individual or yung mga grupo na nai-involve doon sa study natin. Ay. Hello po. Next po is ano-ano yung mga types ng research problem. So, meron tayong tatlo. So, una is yung theoretical research problems. Theoretical research problems deal with conceptual and intellectual inquiries that may not involve empirical data collection, but instead seek to advance our understanding of complex concepts, theories, and phenomena within their respective disciplines. For example, sa mga social sciences, ito yung mga research problems maybe relating sa mga determination of right and wrong in questions of conduct or conscience or dun sa differences nila or yung descriptive. Or pwede rin yung relational, which is yung nag-investigate ng characteristics related in some way. So, second is applied research problems. Applied or practical research problems focus on addressing real-world challenges and generating practical solutions to improve various aspects of society, technology, health, and the environment. So, ang mga example nito is yung studying the use of precision agriculture techniques to optimize crop yield at ma-minimize na yung resource waste. So, pangatlo is action research problems. Action research problems aim to create positive change within specific contexts by involving stakeholders, implementing interventions, and evaluating outcomes in a collaborative manner. So, ito yung ang example kasi nito is yung mga partnering with healthcare professionals para ma-identify niyo yung mga barriers doon sa mga pasyente regarding sa mga medication regimens at devising interventions para ma-address sila. So how to define a research problem? Una is look for a broad problem area. Una pala, kailan pala magiging researchable ang isang problem is una is there is no known solution to the problem, saka yung mga solution can be answered by using statistical methods and techniques. May mga probable solutions pero hindi pa natitested, then yung occurrence of the phenomena, dapat nire-request niya yung scientific investigation para mag-arrive ka at maging precise yung solution natin. So, bago kasi tayo mag-define ng research problem, kailangan natin tanungin yung sarili natin or mga steps niya, uh, general steps uh, para makakonduct tayo ng research problem. So una yung look for a broad problem area. Ito yung ina-identify niyo yung mga underexplored aspects or areas of concern o yung mga controversy sa topic of interest natin. So ito kasi ay ina-evaluate niyo yung significance na ina-address niya dun sa problem in terms of its potential contribution to the fields and mga theoretical insights niya. So second, learn more about the problem. So kailangan dito is, kailangan natin magbasa ng mga literature, simulan natin dun sa mga historical aspects, hanggang dun sa current status o yung mga latest updates niya. So kailangan natin mag-rely dun sa mga reputable evidence at data, at dapat kailangan natin mag-consult sa mga researchers na nag-work din dito sa relevant field na hinahanapan natin ng solution. So third is identify the relevant variables and how they are related. So dapat kino-consider natin kung ano yung mga variables na yung pinakamahalaga dun sa study natin para matulungan tayo masagutan yung mga research question natin. Once tapos na ito, dapat kailangan natin na i-determine yung mga relationship nila between sa mga variables natin. At paano natin ito i-connect o yung relationship nila kung ito ba ay nakaka-apekto doon sa research problem. So, fourth is think of practical aspects. Deliberate on ways that your study can be practical and feasible in terms of time and resources. Dapat dinidiscuss natin yung practical aspects with other researchers dun sa field, at dapat maging open tayo sa pagre-revise ng problema based dun sa mga feedbacks nila. Fifth is formulate the problem statement. So dapat mag-craft tayo ng concise problem statement na nag-outlines dun sa issue, sa mismong issue niya, at dapat yung kailangan yung naiimbestigahan natin palalo. Then six is stick to plans but be flexible. Kapag when defining the problem, no, dapat pinaplano natin ahead, pero dapat iniisipin natin yung budget and timeline niya. At the same time, no, dapat kino-consider natin yung mga possibilities at ma-ensure natin yung problema at yung mga tanong natin ma-modified kung kinakailangan. So, next is the research objectives. So, research objectives are precise statements that describe what the researcher aims to accomplish. They outline the purpose of the study and the specific questions it seeks to answer. Research objectives are essential for providing clarity and structure to the research process. Ang research objectives kasi ay dinidescribe niya yung kung ano yung ini-intend natin to accomplish, no? Dapat dapat gina-guide natin every step of the research process, including yung pagko-collect natin ng data, yung pagbibuild natin ng argument, and pagde-develop natin ng conclusions. So ang research objectives kasi ay nag-e-evolve habang yung research natin nagpo-progress. Pero dapat nila-line up pa rin natin yung research natin dun sa actual content ng paper natin. So, minsan nagkakagulo kasi tayo kung ano ang research aim saka research objectives, no? So, ang research aim kasi is it defines typically refers to a broad statement indicating the general purpose of your research project. It should appear at the end of your problem statement before your research objectives. While yung research objectives are more specific than your research aim and indicate the particular focus and approach of your project. Though you will only have one research aim, you will likely have several research objectives. So, yun nga, sinasabi niya, parang ang research aim is general while your research objectives is specific. So, next po, Dr. po. Importance of research objectives. Una is focus, no? It helps to narrow the research scope to specific, yung mga achievable goals natin. Second is yung guidance. Ito ay nagpo-provide ng roadmap sa pagse-select natin ng mga research methods at pagdi-design natin dun sa study natin. Third is clarity. Ito yung ini-ensure natin yung mga researcher at audience natin na maunawaan nila yung purpose ng study natin. Fourth is evaluation. Ito yung nagsiserve as benchmarks for assessing whether the study has achieved its goal, no? So, next po is types of research objectives. So, meron tayong 6 na types ng research objectives. Una is general objectives, also called broad objectives, provide an overview of the research primary aim. Ibig sabihin kasi nito, ito yung nagdi-describe dun sa main purpose ng study natin in a concise manner. So, ang example nito is to explore the relationship between exercise and mental health among young adults. Second, specific objectives. It breaks down the general objective into smaller, more focused goals. So, from the term itself, no specific. So, dapat ina-address natin yung mga research questions natin or yung mga hypotheses para mag-guide yung data collection and analysis. Data collection, for example nito, is to assess the frequency of exercise among young adults. Tapos, to evaluate the impact of different types of exercise on anxiety levels. Third is descriptive objectives. Ang descriptive naman is to aim to describe characteristics, behaviors, or phenomena without investigating cause and effect relationships. So, ang example nito is to describe the demographics of patients visiting a rural health clinic. So mostly parang ganito yung mga research nowadays, no? Mga descriptive. So the fourth is exploratory objectives. It seeks to investigate unknown or poorly understood phenomena. Ito naman ay ginagamit po sa mga qualitative research. So, example nito ay to explore the challenges faced by teachers transitioning to online education. Fifth is explanatory objectives. It aims to understand cause and effect relationship between variables. From the term itself, no, explanatory. So, to determine how income level influences consumer purchasing behavior. Last but not the least is the evaluative objectives. Assess the effectiveness or outcomes of a specific program, intervention, or policy. So, example nito is to evaluate the impact of a workplace wellness program on employee productivity. So, sa hypothesis natin, a hypothesis is a prediction of a relationship between one or more variables and the problem under study that is specifies the relationship among variables. In order to measure the relationship among variables to be studied, the dependent and independent variable need to be identified. It is a tentative prediction of a relationship between one or more factors or variables and the problem under study that can be tested. It is applied to the majority of the observational and experimental studies. If any of the following terms appear in the high research questions, then the study is not simply descriptive and a hypothesis should be formulated. So, ang hypothesis po ay dinidefine niya as a wise guess, no? Na nagfo-formulated and temporarily adapted para i-explain at i-explain yung na-observe facts covered by the study. So functions of hypothesis, no? It translates the research question into a prediction of expected outcome. Second, it forces researcher to think logically. Third is exercises critical judgment. And fourth is it ties together earlier study findings. So, so a good hypothesis dapat ay nagbe-base ito sa good research questions. Dapat ito ay simple lang, specific, capable of being tested, stated in advance, and dapat ideally work in present tense po. So it should state that the expected relationship between the independent, yung cost niya, and dependent, yung outcome variable. So dapat mas-state rin natin yun. So categories of hypothesis. So una is simple hypothesis. Involves one predictor, independent, and one outcome, dependent variable. So siguro naman aware naman po tayo sa mga independent at dependent variables kasi from our master thesis po, no, na na-discuss naman po kung ano ang independent sa dependent. So complex hypothesis comprises multiple predictor or outcome variables. Ang specific hypothesis naman provides clarity regarding the subject and variables using operational definitions. For example, na yung paggamit po ng mga smartphone applications para matrack yung daily water intake, measured doon sa mobile app. So, this is more prevalent sa mga young adults na merong sedentary lifestyle, which is ito yung predictor variable natin. Kesa doon sa mga um, who engage in regular physical activity based doon sa self-reported data nila. So, ayun yung example po ng specific hypothesis. So, last is primary and secondary hypothesis. The primary hypothesis is the central hypothesis guiding the study's design. So, in certain cases such as randomized trials and additional hypotheses may be necessary secondary hypothesis. Ah, next po. Thank you po. Types of hypothesis. Directional hypothesis, one-sided or one-tailed. So it specifies the expected direction of the relationship between predictor and outcome variables. Second is non-directional hypothesis, two-sided or two-tailed. It states only that an association exists. It does not specify the direction. Third is null hypothesis. It states that there is no relationship association between predictor and outcome variable in the population. So the null hypothesis is the formal basis for testing statistical significance. Last is the alternative hypothesis. It proposes that there is an association between predictor and outcome variable. Statistical test attempt to reject the null hypothesis if there is an association in favor of the alternative hypothesis. This hypothesis could be one-sided or two-sided. So mostly sa research natin po is ito yung lagi natin nakikita yung null hypothesis sa alternative hypothesis. So the research hypothesis is essentially a specific form of the alternative hypothesis tailored to the researcher's expectations. So sa hypothesis testing po kasi natin, na hypothesis is either rejected or accepted. Depende dun sa p-value kung ito ay above or below dun sa determined cutoff point natin na tinatawag nating significance level of test. So sa mga statistical test natin, dapat ma-determine natin kung sufficient ba yung evidence natin to reject the null hypothesis in favor of alternative hypothesis. Kung meron ba silang association in the population. So sa standards, para sa mga test na to ay tinatawag na level of statistical significance. Kung ang p-value niya is less than the cutoff point, yung null hypothesis niya is rejected. Kung p-value niya is more than or equal dun sa cutoff point, yung null hypothesis is accepted po. So, usually, pipili lang po tayo dun sa 0.05 or 5% or 0.01 o 1% as their level of significance para ma-test natin yung null hypothesis. So meron akong ginawang sample no, pero hindi parang hindi naman po siya totally hindi yung paragraph form, so parang inano ko lang siya. Binulit uh, binulit point ko para ma-identify kaagad yung mga points niya po. So ito po ay the influence of digital transformation of public administration in Metro Manila. So ito yung title. So ang introduction po, dapat po ilagay natin dyan yung digital transformation is reshaping public service. LGUs in Metro Manila are adopting digital tools for efficiency. So despite efforts, many issues remain: delays, poor service, low satisfaction. So this research explores how digital transformation impacts governance performance. So dapat sa introduction po natin, dapat na specify natin yung mga problems or mga issues niya. So next po is alamin po natin yung research problem. So ang research problem po natin doon sa title natin is, yung main problem niya, to what extent does digital transformation influence the performance of public administration in Metro Manila? Tapos syempre may mga sub-problems siya. So ito yung mga pwedeng maging tanong niya: what is the current level of digital adoption in LGUs? How do employees and citizens perceive these changes? So what challenges affect implementation? And next po is research objectives. So, ayun nga, yung tinutukoy ko na meron tayong aims, research aim and research objectives. So, ang general niya is examine the effect of digital transformation on public administration performance, while yung specific objectives niya is to assess digital adoption among selected LGUs, measure effects on service efficiency and citizen satisfaction, identify key implementation challenges, recommend improvements. So, ayun yung mga objectives natin doon sa parang research research title natin. So, yung research hypothesis, so una is yung null hypothesis natin. Pwede tayong mag-include doon na no significant relationship between digital transformation and public administration performance, no significant improvement in citizen satisfaction, then implementation challenges have no significant effect. While kung gagawa tayo ng alternative hypothesis naman, pwede siyang maging digital transformation improves administrative performance, citizen satisfaction increases after digital initiatives, then yung challenges negatively affect success. Sa significance of the study natin, syempre mostly sa ginagawa nating thesis, mostly mga uh, from general to from specific to general, kung sino apektado, like, so katulad nito dun sa ginawa nating research title is assist policy makers in evaluating digital reforms. So una-una dyan yung mga policy makers, second yung mga local government, local governance. So kailangan natin ma-identify yung service gaps nila, supports improved citizen engagement and accountability, contributes to smart governance research in the Philippines. So, yan po yung significance of the study natin. So, yung mga scope and delimitation natin, una, dapat ma-indicate natin yung focus niya, like LGUs in Metro Manila with digital services, yung include natin yung online portals, e-permits, automated system, exclude natin yung national government, private sector. So yung time frame natin hanggang gaano siya kahaba, or gaano siya, hanggang kailan tayo doon, hanggang ano i-limit natin. So time frame niya is 2020 to 2025. So sa conclusion naman, dapat ma-indicate natin doon yung digital transformation is promising but uneven in public service. Research will explore real-world impacts and propose improvements. So this study supports better technology-enabled public administration. So yun po yung conclusion. So this will be the end of my report po. And thank you very much for listening po. Thank you po.
Okay, so again, as our presenter mentioned, no, her discussion underscore the research, no, is unique because it links academic inquiry with governance practice, no, and some real world problems such as leadership gaps, no, digital governance with governance practice, no, and or syempre yung mga citizen participation, scholars ensure that their work contributes not only to theoretical debates but also to public sectors. A key insight in the interdependence of research problem, no, objectives and hypotheses. A poorly defined problems lead to bugs objectives and weak hypothesis. So it always depends to your statement of the problem. No, while a well-formulated problem creates a strong foundation for rigorous investigation, and this alignment, no, guarantees the study relevance and credibility. So the integration of theoretical frameworks such as the new public management, as I mentioned, transformational leadership, and participatory governance will provide, no, a structure to hypothesis. And the frameworks or these frameworks, no, enable scholars to test long-standing assumption while generating new insights, no, tailored to contemporary challenges. So the use of hypotheses allow public administration research to produce evidence-based recommendation, no, whether validating the role of leadership, no, proving the importance of transparency, or confirming the value of participation. Research outputs can be translated into actionable form. So, in short, doctoral research in public administration must demonstrate both academic rigor and practical relevance. Again, a well-defined problem, clear objectives, and testable hypothesis from the scaffolding of effective research. Together, they ensure that scholarly work not only enriches academic discourse but also strengthens governance institutions, enhance public trust, and promotes democratic accountability. No, so I think that's it for this topic. Thank you so much, ma'am.